So what's up, everybody? What's up, church family? Listen, I wanted to tell you all thank you for all the support that you have given us, me and the Atmosphere Changers on the last video. So look, check this out. January 17th, that Friday night at 6, from 6 to about 9:30, we're shooting our new music video to our song Creator. The label wants us to shoot another video, so I showed them the outside of our church and Simmons and all of that good stuff. We're going to shoot our new music video January the 17th, and we want to invite the whole church out. That's everybody, the deacons, the ushers, the greeters, all the music department, everybody, the deacons. You don't have to dress up, come dress down, but also come to wear what you want the world to see you in. We're going to shoot that Friday night, January the 17th, 6 o'clock to about 9:30 at the Louisville campus, 1018 South 15th Street. See you there. Everybody, all the church family, come out and be a part.
Introducing our new January sermon series, Getting on Top of Your Finances. This series topics include how to obtain financial freedom, the principles of prosperity, the true measure of greatness, and the unexpected blessings of a giver. During this financial series, make your decree known by saying, by the grace of God, I will pay off my credit cards. I will get out of debt. I will raise my credit score. Let's all claim our freedom from anxiety about financial matters. The new January series, Getting on Top of Your Finances. Financial freedom. Are you there? Well, it's time to get there. Louisville, get ready as Simmons College of Kentucky presents the MLK Day Pastors Classic.
One that we got it, come and get it, player, we with it. All you gotta do is set it, baby. Ride or die, what I really want, what I really want.
We're getting all rah-rah sis boom bop for the mighty Falcons. Come join the men's team as they go head-to-head with the Boys College Bulldogs.
We with it, all you gotta do is set it, baby. Ride or die, what I really want.
On Monday, January 20th, 4 p.m. at the St. Stephen Family Life Center. We're calling all pastors to come on out and show your support. And the rest of the community come right on wearing your favorite Simmons gear.
Cause you playing with your life. If you think I'm thinking twice, now you walking to the light.
Come root on the Falcons as they go head-to-head with the Boys College Bulldogs.
What I really want, what I really want.
Hey, St. Stephen Church family. Here are your church announcements. The new year is here, and let's start it off with prayer. Make plans to join us for Prayer Breakfast 2020. I've seen you praying. Saturday, January 18th at 9 a.m. at our Southern Indiana campus. The featured speaker for this event will be Pastor Cassandra Gray, and our guest psalmist will be Miss Anicia Bunton Creighton. Be sure to purchase your tickets online today at ssclive.org. Tickets are also available in the concourse following service. So Dr. Cosby's been giving us ways to stay on top of our finances, and to top it off, we are offering a free financial literacy seminar. This event is powered by Park Community Credit Union. Come join us Saturday, January 18th from 1 to 2 p.m. in Multipurpose Room number 1. For more information, contact Mark McCoy at 502-357-6708. Up next, it's Bag Weekend. Bring a guest weekend, January 18th and 19th. Our special musical guest for Bag Weekend will be national recording artist and former America's Got Talent contestant, Callie Day.
Hello, everyone. Hey, St. Stevens, this is Callie Day. Now, I'm currently in New York City right now, but I can't wait. I cannot wait for Bag Weekend. Now, don't forget to let the guests know, all your friends and family, and let's have a high time in the Lord, okay? Now, don't forget, Bag Weekend. Invite your friends and your family, and let's have a good time in the name of the Lord, okay? I love you and be blessed, okay? Bye-bye.
In After Bag Sunday, Vision Night 2020. Our Southern Indiana campus is asked to come over to the Louisville campus so we can watch the vision together. Southern Indiana and Louisville's Vision Night will be on Wednesday, January 29th at 6:30 p.m. on the Louisville campus. In January, we're covering finances. And in February, we're talking about freedom. St. Stephen, get ready for Pastor Cosby's Black History Month sermon series, The Young and the Restless, Black Youth and the Struggle for Racial Justice. Topics include Birmingham and the Children's Campaign, Emmett Till, the Little Rock Nine, and the sit-ins. You are now up to date on the happenings here at the Stephen. Be sure to visit us on Facebook, give us a like. Also, follow us on Twitter and download our app in the App Store. And now, let's get ready for worship. Be blessed.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
What day is it? It is hump day. And so today, if it's hump day, then you mean, we're going to have Bible study time. And so we hope that you've got your Bible, your lessons, your pens, your pencils, your highlighters and everything, and study this great lesson with us. We have here as our guest today, Dr. Giovanni Rondo, and she's going to talk to you about eating to live or living to eat. Whoa, now drop the mic on that one. Eating to live or living to eat. Somebody asked me, said, so what are you doing now? And I said, I used to eat, I used to live to eat, but now I eat to live. And I'm not doing a good job on that either. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Giovanni Rondo, like you said, and I'm an internal medicine physician, and I have been in practice now, wow, I can't believe it, but for almost 20 years.
Get out!
Yeah, almost 20 years. I know, it just doesn't even seem
Ooh.
right. So I have been with Norton Community Medical Associates for almost that amount of time. I trained in internal medicine at New York University. I went to U of L for medical school, so plug out for University of Louisville. And
Yay!
and I
Boom!
And I take care of adults, basically. I
Okay.
do outpatient adult medicine, so I take care of people with all kinds of medical issues: diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, pneumonias, respiratory infections, all different types of things, asthma. So
Okay.
I see on a regular basis.
I got the right person today to tell you all about your eating habits, okay? So, you a member here at St. Stephen?
Yes. I've actually been a member here since, 97. I was actually in medical school when I joined. So
Oh,
I needed it,
okay,
yes.
okay. There was something I was getting ready to ask you. I'm having a senior moment. I'm having some feedback. How come I'm having feedback? Well, whatever. I'm a senior, so I just lost my train of thought there for a moment.
It's okay. You have good medication for that too. Yes.
Well, I probably need some medication for that. But one of the things I like about St. Stephen, yes, I'm putting in a plug for St. Stephen, and especially our Bible study, Sunday school, is that we do up-to-date issues. And this month we are doing practical stuff. Last week we talked about digging out of debt. In other words, in January, new beginning, new decade, new month, we need some new habits. And so we have been talking more about stewardship, ownership. And we discovered that we don't own anything. And so we are stewards. And now we've talked about we don't own money. The money belongs to Him. He gives it to us to put to use. But now today we're going to talk about what people probably don't think about, and that's their body. Right. That we've got to give an accountability of how we use the body that He has given us. Because Paul said in 1 Corinthians 6, 19 and 20, do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies.
Yes.
So.
Yes, and that is so very important. As a physician, that's what I deal with. I deal with bodies all the time. So this is just biblically, confirms a lot of what I do on a daily basis, and that's honoring your body with the different things and the different activities that we participate in. So I'm glad that I'm here today.
I'm glad that you're here today too. Now our lesson starts off talking about Daniel didn't want to defile himself by eating the various food, the royal food and wine. And in the lesson, we talked about that Daniel was willing to suffer through a name change. Because see, his name was not, his name was Daniel, but they changed it to Belteshazzar, whom Baal favors. And so Daniel, he accepted the name change. He was also made a eunuch, so he accepted the nature change. But he put a halt to it when they wanted to change his eating habits. And so this is where we're going to start. In other words, they wanted to change. When we look at his character, look at Daniel's character, Daniel said, I'm willing to go through a name change. But the one point I wanted to, especially when we get ready to talk about this eating now, is people may call you out of your name. I know growing up, I was called out of my name because I could say please and plump, but the kids said fatso. So it was called out of the name, but a name doesn't make you who you are. So that was the one point, but we want to get down to the crux of this, and we're talking about Daniel wouldn't tolerate. He would not tolerate giving up. You can change my name, you can change my schooling, but I'm not going to let you change my eating habits. So now let's talk about our eating habits. And Daniel said, here's what you do. For 10 days, you give me my vegetables and what I need to eat. And it was found that he was healthier than those who ate from the king's table. So tell us about this eating habits. How should we look at our eating habits? How do we need to, what is wrong with our eating habits? Because most Americans are obese. I said it, yeah, I said it, there it is. So tell us, what's our problem here in America?
Well, I just really found that with Daniel, I thought it was very interesting that he is refusing to eat the king's foods. And the king's foods does represent pretty much what we in our American society eat. And that's very rich foods, potentially alcohol, lots of meat, lots of things that have additives to it like fat, sugar, salt. So he kind of refused to eat all the rich types of food. So it's probably similar to going to McDonald's, Golden Corral, all the different places that we like to eat where we eat the really heavy, foods. But Daniel said, no, I don't want to eat the king's rich foods. I actually want to eat the foods that come from the ground, that are more natural, that are healthier for me. And that's what I have basically been taught to eat from a child, from what I can understand from the text. And that's what I and my friends want to eat on a regular basis, because that's healthier and that's better for us. We don't want to eat the king's foods. We want to eat things that are really going to be more nourishing. And the things that he wanted to eat were things that we as doctors tell you to eat anyway, things like fruits and vegetables.
What's wrong with meat? I like my meat.
Yeah. And that can be okay sometimes, but in our society, a lot of times we eat too much of it, and we eat things that are very processed. And when we talk about process, it means things that when you look at it from its original form to what it looks like when we actually eat it, like you can even look at something like bacon, or you can look at turkey, or I'm sorry, I should say sausage. Look at what it comes from, so the pig, and then look at what it becomes. It doesn't look anything like that at all. It's out of its natural form, and it's very processed. And those are the types of foods that we should really, we can maybe have it every so often, but to eat it on a regular basis is not as healthy for us as eating things that come from the ground, like more fruits and vegetables and whole grains. So, yeah. So that's pretty much what we advise. And so I love how Daniel really does talk about just that thing. So we think here in our society that we're just doing so much, and you need to eat like this, and you need to eat fruits and vegetables. But in the Bible, in the Word of God, it shows that he was eating like this, and how he had more strength, more knowledge. he was in a healthier position than the people who were eating otherwise. And from what I understand too, I'm not a Bible scholar like you are, but Daniel lived a long
I'm not a
life.
food scholar like you are.
But Daniel lived a long life.
Yeah, he did.
A very long life.
Very
And
long.
I think a part of that has to do with, of course, we know it all comes from God, but a part of that may have had to do with what he chose to eat, what he was taught to eat at a very early age.
So our eating habits should start at an early age.
Absolutely start at an early age, yes, absolutely, without a doubt. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're older, even if you're like my grandmother's age, 101, you can't make some changes, even though I think she's going to
Her
be
grandmama,
more resistant.
101. Yeah, she'll resist.
I think she'll, yes.
You know why? Because, see, her grandmother just last week was complaining about something that she wanted to eat.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know.
And her grandmother was complaining. And today, earlier, I thought, I'm going to surprise her and take her some. Now,
Was it?
Chitlins.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that. Okay.
Her grandmother likes chitlins.
Loves chitlins.
But she's 101. And one thing that the doctor told me when my mother was, and she was hitting 90s nicely. And I said, oh, you can't have that. He said, your mother has lived long enough to eat whatever she wants to eat. So I guess it's the same with her grandmother. She has lived long enough and she wants some chitlins. And she said, I haven't had any. I said, I'm gonna get some and take it over to her. And she didn't hear me.
Okay, yeah.
You all heard me, but she didn't hear me. And she's probably not looking, so she wouldn't have heard it, so it still would be a surprise.
Right. But yeah, so I love my oops.
It's all right, we'll get
Sorry.
you.
Thank you, something about that.
Oops.
Okay. So yeah, I think my grandmother is an anomaly.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, overall, chitlins and things that come from animals or animal products generally aren't the best things for us if we're going to live a long, healthy life as much as we possibly can. But that doesn't mean that we can't indulge every so often. But I can guarantee you that she's not eating the chitlins on a daily basis.
On a daily,
Yeah.
no. Well, you see, now once I made up my mind. Here's what I said. I'm gonna tell it on myself. I said, I'm going to stop eating so much red meat. And I said, so that meant the steak, and I love a good steak, and some other stuff. And I went to a funeral. And I had just made up my mind.
That's how we do it.
And the pastor stood up to preach. And he was saying, the statistic shows every 1 out of 1 gonna die. Okay, well, it was all right. Then he said, if you're a vegetarian, you're gonna die. And he went out through, and I thought, wait a minute, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna go back and eat my red meat.
Well, I completely agree. Obviously, that is a fact. That is a fact that we're all gonna die. But one of the things that we can potentially do is, while we're on this earth, we can actually live, hopefully, healthier lives.
And
longer lives, potentially, by some of the foods that we actually ingest and just some of the other activities that we participate in. So, yeah.
Well, one of the things that we want to do here as we talk about the Daniel and what he was eating and couldn't eat and did eat, we're going to start the Daniel fast. Hey. Okay. So here's what I'm saying. If you want, because I'm not going to throw it up on you today and say we're going to start tomorrow, because it's a man thing as well. But my sisters and brothers out there who are listening, we need to honor God's body, because remember, you're just the overseer of the body. So we are going to do the 21 day of fasting and praying and fast, Daniel fast. Now understand, this isn't a fast. There are different types of fasting. And one is that, you give up food like Jesus did when he went out into the wilderness 40 days and nights. He didn't eat anything, but that's not what we're saying. This is more about eating right, making a sacrifice and giving up the meats, And for me, that means the Pepsi. Oh, Lord have mercy. It means,
You can do it. You can do it.
what,
Yes.
drink the Pepsi?
No, you can give it up. You can give it up for 21 days.
I thought she was telling me I could have my Pepsi. I was getting ready to do it. Oh.
Yes, you can do it. You can do all things through Christ. Absolutely. And this is one of them. Yes. Absolutely.
I'm going to try it. And I invite you to try it with me. And if you want, now, this little booklet here that we did will tell you everything that you can eat, you can't eat. Even got some recipes in there for us. Now, you can go online, and it's there. Just click on the eCampus and go to a hump day and get the lesson. And today's lesson, are you eating to live or living to eat? And I think my producer was trying to give me the eye, but I sent it to her, so it should be there. I think I sent it to her.
Okay. I know that I received that.
You received it, right? She
Excellent.
received it, so if I send it to her, I send it to the producer. But anyway, you go online. It'll be there by the time you get ready to start February the 1st. And we are going to do, now understand this, to do it, it says fasting and praying. So you need to pray as you do this. Don't just drop everything and start, say, okay, I'm gonna do it. But I'm telling you, you need to go online, read the booklet, the information, because for those of you that gets up with a cup of coffee, coffee is out. For those who like me, who like a cup of tea, tea is out. What can I drink? Water. See, water, that's what you drink.
The best drink. Absolutely. That is the best drink known to man or woman. Yes.
Okay, the producer says she got her water. The assistant producer, she says she got her water. Dr. Rondo got her water. They wouldn't let me have a Pepsi. But we need to do it right. Now, let me ask you something, Dr. Rondo. I'm not trying to put you on the spot here. But when everybody knows our history, because we're coming up on Black History Month. Black people had to do the best they could do with food.
Absolutely.
And we were given scraps, the scraps. So now we seeing that the scraps wasn't good for us. But our parents did it. But we dying. What happened?
Well, we're living in completely different circumstances. When we had the scraps, we actually did more physical labor, obviously. We did more physical labor, and just the environment was different overall. And the scraps didn't have the same kind of processing that they do now. We didn't have sodas like we do now, so it's really a different overall era, just overall. So our modern technology has actually made us worse in terms of we don't have to go out and search for our foods.
We're lazy too, aren't we?
We're on computers a lot for our labor. We're not as physically laborious as we used to be. So it's made it a difference overall. So, and in terms of just the scraps per se, well, if they were fruits and vegetables, that's actually would have been better for us overall. But a lot of the scraps that from what I understand, we did get were from maybe livestock and whatnot. And so some of that is probably going to be okay, but to have a meal or diets that are so heavy in that is not okay.
Because going back to the chitlins, probably that was part of the scraps.
Yep.
That was part of the scraps. Yes. So we had to make do with what was given us.
Yes.
I mean, the family ate the ham, and they had the pork chops, and so we got the feet.
Right. Or the snout, maybe.
Or the snout,
like that,
or the ears, or whatever, or the tails. Yes. So we had to make do.
Yes, and our history is full of stories like that, but now we have a different scenario in our lives now. So what we found is that when you eat foods again that are heavy, that are very processed, that are very animal based, that's not as optimal for us, just overall. So yeah, we're in a new era, we're in a new day. And so now, actually, even in our communities that we live in now, there's actually a lot of food places that we can go to. And I consider it, a lot of people call it food deserts, but I call it food swamps because it's filled with unhealthy things. Like you can go to liquor stores, you can go to gas stations and get, gizzards and lots of fried foods like fried fish, fried chicken and different things like that. You can get lots of bagged foods like chips, Big Red, hot, cheese fries, different things like that. But those things are very heavily processed. They're very greasy. They're very salty, very sugary. And those things are just not optimal for us. So that's why participating in something like the Daniel fast is really important, because it kind of allows you to experience your life outside of those types of things. It allows you to really come more from the natural, really God-given environment that we all really can live in. But we've just lived in such a processed, technologically advanced era that we just don't do that. So getting literally back to our roots is really important when it comes to a fast like this. I've actually done the fast myself.
Have you?
A couple times.
Okay.
I've done it a couple of times, and I say fasting, but also prayer. That's
very important.
Doing something like this, it takes prayer to get
It takes,
through it.
yeah.
Especially when you do it very strictly. So, but yeah.
And that's how come. Again, I'm saying that starting February, we want to do this because it's a mindset. You got to get your mind right. I got to work on myself. I was trying to cut back on the Pepsis now so that when I cut it out, it just wouldn't kill me and I'd be walking around at everybody. But let me ask you something, because, it's noted for us, particularly in our men, with high blood pressure. Is that because we don't eat right, or is it because that the black population for diabetes and that type of stuff is much higher?
Much higher, yes.
Is it because we don't eat right?
Well, it's a plethora of different things. There's a variety of different reasons why we have an increased risk for high blood pressure and also diabetes. Genetics plays a major role.
Okay.
For us. So that is one of the things. Stress plays a major role for us as African Americans.
So we got to work 2 or 3 jobs, so that's stressful.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
And then not just working 2, 3 jobs, it's, racism and just different, environmental or societal, pressures that we still feel even to this day. And then, of course, diet. Diet does play a role as well. And that is a major thing. That's like, we can only do so much about, racism and things that happen and how people treat us and whatnot, and even sometimes issues with stress. But what we put into our mouths, we do have control over. We definitely have control over that, and it's not easy, but we can control it. So when we have a more salty diet, when we have foods that are more processed, when we have foods and drinks that are just heavier, more alcohol, more sugary types of things like soft drinks, and even things that we think maybe
like Pepsi. You talking about Pepsi again?
Yes, I am. And even the things that you say, okay, I'm drinking Diet Pepsi. Do you like Diet Pepsi?
No.
Oh, okay. Still, if you did,
the real
still
deal
is not as healthy as just great old water or even like low-fat milk. Okay, so those are 2 options. Not necessarily the Daniel fast. Daniel fast only really allows water.
Low-fat milk?
Yeah, low-fat. Yes.
So what's wrong with the milk? I do not want. Okay, I'm telling you, the 2% milk, the what's that other milk? The skim milk, and it look like dishwater pouring out on my cereal. I don't want it.
Yeah. Well, for purposes of the Daniel fast, water is the best drink. But if you're just trying to consume things that are healthier for you, the less fat in things, the better overall. And I used to think the same thing. When I was growing up, I just drank regular whole milk. And so I looked at 1% and skim milk and
2%.
I was like, ooh. And when I first started drinking it, it was like water. It's amazing how your taste buds change, really. And when you think about being healthy, just in the long run, you want to, that's the goal, is to be healthy in the long run. Now, your short term gratification may not be satisfied.
No, it's
immediately,
not with
but
that
you have
stuff
to
on
think
my
of
cereal.
long term, and that's one of the things with the Daniel fast too. Is that yes, it's difficult, but it teaches you how to put the flesh a little bit to subjection. You know, it teaches you how to, okay, for the long term, I'm going to be healthier, even though the short term, it may not taste as good, but you kind of do get used to it. And like I said, I've done the Daniel fast a couple of times, and it has, like, from the first time I did it to the time that I just recently did it, it's made a difference, even though I don't eat like this all the time, no. But it can change your life. It really can. So
How did it change your life?
well, when I first did the Daniel fast, I was asking God for some things, for some changes in my life. And actually, in particular, to be honest with you, I wanted someone else to change. Ooh. Yeah, so I wanted someone else to change, and I wanted our relationship to change. But at the end of the Daniel fast, I was the one that changed.
You realize, yeah, you can't change somebody else. Change me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what God did, is that He changed me, and He showed me.
But you prayed while you were
Oh,
fasting.
absolutely. So what I did also with the fast, which was really, it really helped, is I had accountability partners, and we all did it together. One of my girlfriends in Atlanta, someone else here in Louisville, and I live in Indiana. We all did it together.
Together.
So, we did it together. So we would be on the phone on a daily basis, reading scriptures from the book of Daniel. We had like a little bit of a plan of what we were going to eat, and then we would pray together and help each other to just, let's get through this. And we did it for 21 days, and it absolutely changed all three of our lives. We even look back on that now. That was about almost 6 years ago. We look back on that now, and we're like, wow, look at how our lives have changed so much. And not that everything is, perfect.
It's never going to be.
Or everything is always up and up. But one of the things that we learned is how to really learn how to put our flesh to subjection, and really how to get through things, how to be patient, and how to delay gratification, in a lot of ways. And so a lot of times with the flesh wants what the flesh wants, and you want to lash out and get angry and but you kind of learn how to, push that down and let your spirit man rise up more so, because really our battles are really more spiritual. And so we fight and we war in the spirit, but a lot of times our flesh is what really, seems like it wins
absolutely,
out.
Absolutely.
And in doing the Daniel fast, it really helps you to bring that flesh down and really learn how to do that. And it's hard. It's for 21 days. And I tell you, when I finished that fast, but I felt so much stronger.
Yeah, okay, when you finished the fast, did you go back to eating the way that you did before? Are you just gradually,
That's something that I learned. Well, I remember I did the fast the 21 days before Thanksgiving. So I started like November I think it was that particular is maybe November the 6th. And so I did it for 21 days, and I think Thanksgiving was like November the 28th, something like that. That was the wrong thing to do.
Yes, sure was.
So I learned.
Because you're ready to pig out then, wasn't you?
Oh, I couldn't wait, because I had abstained from all of these different types of foods and drinks, and the amount too, because.
And then there was a big family dinner, and the people in her family can cook.
I have a sister and a brother, and whatnot,
they could
really
cook.
And so when I had so I went from having no meat, having no sugar, no fat, no additives, to eating not only that but large amounts of it. And that was the wrong way to do it, because one thing that happened was I was very heavy, and I felt very heavy, and I felt like my mood went up and down. I was, kind of down a little bit, and then I was kind of angry and kind of lashing out somewhat.
Oh, yeah. I can't imagine you lashing out.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But I could just tell that my mood, it was like a roller coaster, up and down. And so I know I'm a physician and whatnot, but sometimes you have to kind of learn.
Yeah,
sure.
You
have to walk in your own light and learn things, just not from books or whatnot, but just, by
life will teach you.
Life experiences. So when I went through that, I realized, wow, food really does change your mood. It really can affect your mood in a positive way, and sometimes in a negative way, in different ways. So especially eating the wrong types of foods and eating things that are very sugary, very heavy, very fatty, whatnot. So I realized that in that maybe 24 hours that I went from the Daniel fast to Thanksgiving, I said, whew, look at this. And so And I thought maybe it's just me, but when I called my accountability partners, they felt the same way. So when we did the Daniel fast afterwards, and we don't do it necessarily every month or anything like that, or we just kind of, or I've done it periodically throughout my life to, to get to a certain level, to hear God's voice a little bit better. And so subsequently, after I did it, from that first time, I learned, let's gradually go back to eating some of those other foods.
Okay.
Do it more gradually instead of, please don't do it, the 21 days before Thanksgiving. That's for sure.
Now, accountability, and I'm glad that you said that you had accountability partner. If I do this thing, I'm going to have a problem making her my accountability partner. And that's what you do, because it's easier to do this type of thing with somebody than doing it by yourself. So I certainly hope that you all will think about doing it. Get yourself accountability, get a group. I'll come on Wednesdays and I probably won't be saying, hey, it's hump day. I'll be saying hump day, y'all, But no, it's seriously, because this is an interesting topic, and we're talking about, are you eating to live or living to eat? And many of us, we live to eat because we want to eat this, that, and the other. And actually, we find that we can live a lot longer and better and healthier if we just eat right. Well, we're going to shift it just a little bit, and we're going to talk about, and I meant to bring it with me, the next part of the lesson comes really talking about a book that was written by Dr. Cosby, and it was, And Jesus Grew, How About You? And in it, he talks about being physically fit. And so he was saying, think thin, and he uses that acoustic for us to remember to think thin. Now, the T is, think of yourself as the person God intended. Now, and when I think about that, am I the person that God intended me to be? And that's what you need to ask yourself. Now, then the H is have the right motives. Let's just jump on right into that. Have the right motives. And in this book, he tells us about our motive. My motive for doing this. My motive for doing the Daniel fast. My motive for eating right. I will feel better. I will look better. I will live longer. What do you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. When we make changes for our lives, it really has to start right here in the mind. So thinking about who God would like for you to be and what he wants you to do is very, very important. And I think that these things are important. You'll feel better, you'll look better, you'll live longer, but you'll also, what I think of, you'll also not only live longer, but to be a witness to someone else, to be able to minister and to witness to other people as well. Because we have to remember, as the body of Christ, and as we're looking at our temples, we're role models or examples for others. When the world looks at us, they're looking at us as, oh, that's that Christian, or that's that person, or we even refer to words in the Bible sometimes that people will read. So how we present ourselves a lot of times is what other people will see as an example of Christ. So we want to, and not just on the outside looking better, but also feeling better on the inside. And that's where the types of foods that you put in, and it's not just input of food, but it's what you think about. Your thoughts are very important too. What you meditate on. That's very, very important. And that's why being in the Word is so very important in terms of just your overall, who you are, what you meditate on, what you think about. So that's important. And then, of course, we talk about, as a physician, I talk about exercise and how do you...
Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Because you said something, and I was thinking, because we're talking about think. And I have a book somewhere. It says your thoughts are killing you.
Yes.
And we never think about that. Our thoughts. What do you think of yourself? What are you thinking about? Your thoughts are killing you.
Absolutely.
And so we are what we think. Now. Thoughts are killing you. Absolutely. And so I get a little feedback there.
Right.
But It's not about, because we're going right back to what Daniel said and did. It's not that they changed so much that they changed his name, they changed his nature, but he would not let them change what he knew that would impact him. You calling me Daniel or Belteshazzar, it does not change anything. Even though many of us have what we call nicknames, and I usually don't let that out, but the fact of
You're not gonna tell them.
no, I'm not going to tell them. I know everything about me. People didn't even know, and probably you be surprised, but my mother never called me Geneva. My mother never said Geneva. She didn't use the nickname either. She called me Elizabeth. And and only when we were out, and you know, and she would say Elizabeth, and she would say, but if she said Geneva, I knew I was in trouble. Yes. Geneva Elizabeth, and when she put that back to me, it was kind of like, it was kind of like, so what we think about ourselves, and that's what took me the longest thing to learn in my life. If I had a could push a do-over button in my life, what people think about me would not have as much of an impact. Now I'm gonna tell her, and I'm gonna tell the rest of you. Because before we came in, someone stopped me and said, "You're losing weight, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, yes." And they said, well, that's good. You're looking good. Well, you know, I had the grin and smile, but thank you very much. But we was coming from Chicago one day, and we stopped to eat in Indianapolis. I was, of course, much heavier than what I am now. And I was on my way into a restaurant. And as I was coming in, this man was coming out. This man didn't know me, but he had the nerve to say to me, "You don't need to be going in there and eat."
What?
And it stunned me, first of all. But then it hurt me.
It hurt, yes.
To the point that when I got in there, I did not want to eat. And my attitude should have been, "You don't know me, buddy, and I have never seen you, won't see you no more, so keep a stepping." But it bothered me. And I thought, so we cannot worry about what people think about.
Yes.
It's what we think about ourselves.
And that's much easier said than done.
Oh, yeah.
It's much easier said than done. But one of the things that, you know, that I try to remember in God's word is what he says about us.
Yeah.
You know, that's why staying in the word is so very important, because what
It
he
is.
says is ultimately most important. And I wish I had that also, just to remember, you know, what
Way
he
back.
says,
Mm-hmm,
you know, is most important to be able to, because our world is, you know, it's always throwing darts at us for whatever reason, whether it's
Whether they know you or
the hue
not.
of our skin, you know, whatever, our size or whatnot. But the word of God has a shield. I mean, it is an absolute shield that helps so many. So anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what, because it was God himself who finally got to me. In one of those days down and nobody, woe is me, and look at me. He said, "Look, and the Spirit came to me and said to me, you all can bad. You don't have to bad. I know what happened." And he said to me, "Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter what others think. I love you. I created the universe. I hold everything in place. I love you." And when I got it into my spirit, I said, "You love me? Why? Doesn't matter why, I do. I love you." And when I got that into my spirit, way down on the inside, and there's somebody else may be listening right now, you need to know that God loves you. Not who you are, not what you can do, not where you've been, not where you're going. He says, "I love you," right here. He says, so much so that I died for you. When it got into my spirit, now I have a book on my desk that says, "What you think about me is none of my business."
Wow.
Ooh, oh
Did you
yeah.
write that book?
No, I didn't write it.
Okay.
I wish I did. I wish I did. What you think about me is none of my business. And you know what? I don't care what you think about me. What I care about is what God thinks about me. Well, let me finish up because my time is running out. I identify the real reason why you overeat. People overeat for many reasons: frustration, depression, fear.
Yes, absolutely. And that is so very important for people to recognize those triggers so that they can know, okay, am I really hungry or am I just bored? Am I really hungry or am I just lonely? So a lot of times we use food to substitute some other things, rejection, abandonment, just different emotions that may even come from childhood. But that's a whole nother topic.
That really is. I had to have you back again. And so then what you said, the end is network. Get yourself a support group. And if you go with us, get yourself a support group. You out there, you got some folks, get them to. Then know your situational setups. Know all of this. Then turn your focus to foods you should eat. That's the T, that's the first T, that's the T for thin. H, have a daily exercise plan.
Yes, and that's so very important. Now, people think that you need to go to a gym or run a marathon. No, just move more. Just move a little bit more. Maybe when you're doing your vacuuming, you turn on some music and really do it vigorously. Dance. Just get up during the commercials and walk around, do a little bit of yoga, just different things. So even in your chair, you can do arm exercises, conduct the orchestra. There's all kinds of different ways that you can just move more. But if you go to the gym, that's even better. But even in your own house.
I'll come to the Family Life Center.
Yes.
That's a good one too. Yes, because right here at St. Stephen, we got the Family Life Center. And you got a walking track, got a workout spot. You can do it all. Dr. Rondo came over to Indiana campus on a Monday night when we do happy hour. We were talking about fitness, and the first thing she said is, "Okay, you all get up and walk around the room." And everybody got up, walk around the room, and she said, "Walk again." So we walked again. She walked again. Oh, wait a minute.
Right.
And that's all we had to do was walk. I think we walked 10 times, and that's the type of thing now. And this is something I said I wanted to do for myself, is that I got a Fitbit, but this Fitbit, I think, it is not doing. So I'm getting me another one that kind of will notify me you've been sitting too long. Because I have always had a desk job, and I get up there and I start thinking about these lessons. I think of nothing else. I don't think of food. I don't think of exercise. I don't hardly go to the bathroom. It's because I'm standing there thinking, wait a minute, let me get this word. And so you need to have a daily exercise plan. Initiate your plan immediately.
Don't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow is always tomorrow. Today is the day.
Ooh, that was nasty.
The Lord has made.
Tomorrow is always tomorrow.
Yes, do it today. Tomorrow is always tomorrow. But you have today. You don't have tomorrow. You have today. So that's very important, yes. And we don't have yesterday. We have today. So
And never give up on yourself. Never give up on yourself. Well, I tell you what, it has been wonderful having you here. We're going to have you back again. I tell you, this month has been practical. We talked about stewardship, ownership. We're talking about digging out of debt. Then we're talking about eating to live or living to eat. And then next week we're going to talk about it all belongs to set your house in order because you are going to die. And so we're going to talk about end of life things. And our guest next week will be Marty Robinson, who works with hospice. And she will be in here to talk to us and tell us how we can start the conversation so that our family will know different things that we need to take care of and do, because the statistic, every 1 out of 1 dies. So it was great to have you, my sister.
So much.
We'll have you back again, and we'll
pleasure.
talk about that. And so here's what we'll see you next week when we'll have Hump Day.